There lived two sisters, Anna Maria and Vittoria. Anna Maria married a wealthy shopkeeper, while Vittoria married a charcoal burner. Burning charcoal is not the same as selling goods in a shop and counting profits. The charcoal burner worked much and earned little, but in the small house standing at the edge of the forest, it was always cheerful, because the charcoal burner woke up with a song and went to sleep with a song. And never the same one, but always different ones. Where did he get them all? Vittoria's children, 2 girls and 3 boys, grew up rosy-cheeked, obedient, and joyful. But Anna Maria had only 1 son, and he was wicked and whiny. No matter how his mother tried to please or pamper him, he only grew thinner and paler from spite. Thus, the wealthy Anna Maria envied the poor Vittoria. A year came when black fever appeared in the area where the sisters lived, along with its companion, bony death. They looked into one house, then another. The terrible guest did not bypass the charcoal burner's hut, and they knocked on the shopkeeper's door as well. On the same day the sisters had married, they became widows on the same day. Vittoria was left with 5 small children. Burning charcoal is not a woman's business, and no matter how hard she looked, Vittoria could find no other work. Then she decided to go to her sister, Anna Maria. "Help me, sister," Vittoria begged. "Give me at least a little bread to feed the children." "Leeches on my head," Anna Maria shouted. "Well, so be it, you idler. Tidy the house, clean the stable, feed the livestock, weed the garden. Then you can ask." Vittoria tidied the house, cleaned the stable, fed the cows, milked them, and pulled every weed from the garden. "Now bake the bread," Anna Maria commanded. When the bread was baked, she chose the smallest loaf and gave it to her sister. "You can come back tomorrow," the shopkeeper said, thinking to herself, "Your children won't be rosy-cheeked for long if you divide such a small loaf among 5. Vittoria came the next day as well. Her sister gave her even harder work, and in the evening laid before her a loaf even smaller than the day before. But this time, Vittoria was cleverer. She kneaded the dough, but did not wash her hands. Returning home, she put a cauldron on the fire, and shook all the flour stuck to her palms into the water. The result was a delicious flour soup. The children ate it, and went to bed almost full. Vittoria began to do this every day, and the blush on her children's cheeks grew even brighter than before. One day, Vittoria was grinding grain with a hand mill in her sister's yard. Suddenly, an old beggar man entered the gates. "Give me a piece of bread, kind woman," he said. "I am hungry," Vittoria replied. "I would be glad to feed you, but I am not the mistress here. Ask my sister." Then Anna Maria ran out of the house and began to scold. "Get out, tramp, before I set the dog on you." Behind Anna Maria jumped her little son. He gathered stones under his feet and began throwing them at the old man. The beggar turned to leave, but Vittoria managed to whisper to him, "Wait for me this evening at the bend in the road where the large olives grow." Vittoria finished her work and went home. On a rock at the bend of the road, the beggar sat waiting for her. She took her small loaf from her basket, broke it into 6 equal parts, and handed one to the old man. The old man took the bread and asked, "Whose portion have you given me, woman?" "I have 5 children," Vittoria answered. "I am the 6th. So I gave you my own portion. Don't worry, I worked hard today and will soon fall asleep. And in one's sleep one does not feel hunger." "Well, thank you. Perhaps I will help you someday too," the old man said. A little more time passed. One day, Anna Maria's son saw an eagle soaring in the sky and wanted to play with it. Anna Maria loved her son so much that if she had wings, she would surely have flown after the eagle. However, she had no wings, and she began to persuade her dear son to play with other toys. But the dear son wanted only the eagle. He opened his big mouth and began to wail. He wailed so much that by evening everyone in the house was deaf from his screaming, and he himself fell ill. "Well, and your children?" Anna Maria asked Vittoria. "Are they healthy?" "They are healthy," Vittoria replied. And then black envy began to gnaw at Anna Maria. She sent her sister to work in the field and ran to her house. When Anna Maria saw how rosy and cheerful Vittoria's children were, she almost cried with grief. Dear nephews, may you see no good. What does your mother feed you that makes your cheeks so round?" And she painfully pinched the youngest boy. "We eat flour soup," the eldest answered. "Flour soup? And where does your mother get the flour?" As soon as Mama comes home, she shakes the flour stuck to her palms over the cauldron, the girl said. Ah, so that's it, thought Anna Maria. That same evening, she ordered her sister to wash her hands thoroughly before leaving, and drove her away without giving her a single piece of bread. Vittoria went home with an empty basket. At the bend in the road, she stopped and pondered. What would she say to her hungry children? What would she feed them? Then Vittoria saw 3 stones by the roadside. She picked them up, put them in her basket, and covered them with her apron. By the time she returned, the children had, as always, brought water, washed the cauldron, and lit the fire in the hearth. When Vittoria arrived, the water in the cauldron was already boiling. Well, children, she said, today we will have soup. Not flour soup, but soup from good meat. With these words, Vittoria lowered the 3 stones into the cauldron. Does the meat take long to cook? The children asked. A long time, children. See how hard it is? And Vittoria tapped the stones in the cauldron with a wooden spoon. When it becomes soft, the soup will be ready. In the meantime, go play. The children ran off to play. The mother sat by the cauldron where the stones were boiling and wept bitterly. It is already late, she thought. The children will play and fall asleep, forgetting about food. Today I deceived them, but what will become of us tomorrow? Will I be able to find work? But then the doors flew open, and the children ran into the room. They brought with them, who would you think? That very same old beggar whom Vittoria had recently fed with bread. Mama, Mama, the eldest son cried. Grandpa said he is also hungry. Feed him with our meat soup too. Why not feed him? Vittoria said. But the meat is still hard. Let Grandpa warm himself by the hearth and wait, and you go run a bit more. The children ran away. Then the woman said to the old man, Do not be angry, kind man. Last time I gave you my own share. But today I have nothing. What is cooking in the cauldron? The old man asked. Stones, Vittoria answered sadly. Why do you deceive me? I smell the scent of meat. I swear to you there is nothing there but stones, said the poor woman, and running to the cauldron, she scooped from it with a large wooden spoon. How surprised she was to see a large piece of boiled meat in the spoon. I told you it smelled of meat, the old man said. Call the children to supper, but the soup still needs salting, and I have no salt. Your eyes are red, the old man said. That means you have been crying. Perhaps 1 teardrop fell into the cauldron. There is nothing saltier than a mother's tears. Vittoria tasted the soup, and indeed, it was salted just right. Children, come eat, she cried joyfully, and poured the soup into a large bowl. Give the children a piece of bread with the soup, the old man said. Vittoria shook her head. There is no bread in the house. You are deceiving me again, the old man replied, smiling. Look on the shelf in the cupboard. Vittoria obediently opened the cupboard door and saw 7 pagnuoli, small round loaves of bread, lying on the shelf. Everyone ate their fill. Then the old man said, Now it wouldn't be bad to have a glass of good wine and a slice of braccio. Go down to the cellar, woman. Vittoria, without saying a word, went down to the cellar, even though she knew it was completely empty. Not even a mouse could find anything there. But the miracles did not end. In the cellar stood a barrel of wine, and next to it lay wheels of braccio, salted sheep's cheese, and from a thick hook on the ceiling hung smoked hams and clusters of sausages. After dinner, the children fell asleep. Ah, Signor Beggar, Vittoria exclaimed, you must be a wizard. So it is, the old man replied. To do everything I have done is a mere trifle for me. You see, over the last 1,000 years, I have grown quite tired. In the forest and the mountains stands an old oak, as old as I am. In its hollow, I always rest when I wish. Now I have decided to take a little nap, for about 100 years. And before heading to the mountains, I want to settle all my debts. Everything I have given you will stay with you. The meat will not run out in the cauldron, nor the bread in the cupboard, nor the wine, cheeses, and sausages in the cellar. Now I shall go. I still have 1 more debt to pay your sister and her son. Paying it is not so pleasant, but what can be done? And the old man, groaning, rose from the bench. Vittoria caught up with him at the door and grabbed the edge of his clothes. Ah, kind Signor Wizard, please spare my sister. I would be glad to, but I cannot. We wizards also have our own law, to pay everyone according to their merits. Whoever deserved what shall receive it. The old man left. Vittoria did not sleep until dawn. Even if her sister was wicked, she was still her sister. In the morning, she ran to Anna Maria. She saw Anna Maria come out onto the porch to meet her, safe and sound. "Whoa, sister," she cried. "Last night, that same cursed old—" "Ow, ow," and Anna Maria clutched her cheek. "That same kind old man came and said that every time I begin to scold, my teeth will ache. And how can I not scold? May the devils take age. Ow, ow, ow. May the blessed Madonna protect him." Then Anna Maria's son ran into the yard with a stick in his hand. A dog was sitting calmly by the porch. The dear son wanted to swing the stick at the dog, but the stick twisted like a snake and struck him on the forehead. "My golden peach," Anna Maria began to wail upon seeing this. "Even you were not spared by that old foe." "Ow, ow, ow. Just think, sister, the poor child cannot even play now. If he throws a stone, it hits himself. I'm constantly applying lotions to his bruises and scratches." Vittoria laughed and turned toward home. One could end the story here, but there is one more thing to say. Since this story happened, almost 100 years have passed. Soon the old wizard will wake up in his hollow and go wandering through the world again. Perhaps you, children, will meet him too. Do not be afraid of him. He is a good old man. Just do not forget that he pays everyone according to their merits. Whoever deserved what shall receive it.